and have him make a swing through my yard. I can't understand. It is just like an ice pond. We're on, huh? Oh, that works.
All right, at this time, I'd like to call our county commission meeting to order.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried. Item 2 is approval of the minutes
Motion
for
to approve.
December 19
Second that.
and 20. Just note that the 19th was the special meeting held at the Extension Center.
We're going to hold off on the ones for the 19th because Becky is still working on a version, so.
All right.
Yeah, we want just one set of minutes, so we'll just.
All right, so we are not approving minutes of the 19th, and I think I heard motions, so let me be clear that the intent is to approve the minutes for the 20th only.
Yes.
Yes.
I have yeses from the mover and the seconder. Is there discussion on that? Hearing none, if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion carries. Item 65 is the second reading and possible action on ordinance number 65. And I see Mr. McCann in the audience. Pat, if you'd come up, why don't we introduce this subject? We have Mr. Muller here too. And I guess I'll let you two converse amongst yourselves. Who wants to take the lead at explaining where we are on this process and why we are doing this particular action today?
If you want, I'll do the first read or the second reading, and then flip back to Pat here. We've got Ordinance 65, which is an ordinance amending Ordinance 15, which is an ordinance establishing comprehensive zoning regulations for Kern County, South Dakota, and providing for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof pursuant to SDCL 11-2/1967, and amendments thereof, and for the repeal of all resolutions and/or ordinances in conflict herewith. That would be the title. Patrick's got a little background similar to what we said last time, I guess.
Sure.
As we talked about at the first reading, really the point of Ordinance 65 is in response to some litigation that's currently ongoing. Part of that, Judge Means made a finding that there was a procedural issue with the previous adoption of our comprehensive zoning ordinance, and that we had an additional reading without providing public notice. So this is a response to clear up what is potentially a procedural error that could be used to continue to challenge decisions made by the board going forward. So rather than have to face that and keep arguing the same thing, we thought it was the best response just to re-adopt it because, again, the challenges weren't to the merits, the substance of the ordinance. It was really just the procedural portion of how it got approved, like what's going on here today.
Okay. Mr. Muller, any further comment?
Just a little bit. From the zoning office standpoint, really all I'm looking for with this, or hoping for out of this, is we know basically enforce what rules you've got. And I just want to know exactly what rule book we are going to be playing by. And that's where this would come back in to reestablish the rules we have been for the last several years. Planning Commission at the public hearing did recommend approval, citing similar concerns, just to make sure that we're following a similar set of rules that we have been, particularly as we go forward and update the ordinance in the coming year as we go through that. The other thing that was brought up was the one example of something that could be affected, of many of them, which was the floodplain ordinance, which again, if we go back to that decision from Judge Means, we can't really speak to the validity of anything prior to 64, so ordinance 64. So the floodplain ordinance is one of those. I received a letter from FEMA indicating that failure to have the updated floodplain ordinance as we did would result in any federally insured loan coming due, as well as anybody who's got flood insurance losing it, and potentially losing federal emergency management funding for certain events. So that's just one example of things that we need to review as opposed to just take out.
Okay. I guess then at this point, having heard what we're about, I would entertain a motion from a commissioner and a second to adopt ordinance number 65.
So moved.
Second that.
I have that motion and that second, and now, because it is a public hearing, if there are folks in the audience who would wish to address the board on the subject of ordinance 65, and again, keeping in mind, there's no change to the substance of the ordinance. It's just to cover some procedural matters that are hanging in the balance. And so the enabling legislation here is that we can operate and issue seemingly routine applicants, build a house, put up a machine shed, that sort of thing. And so the comments should be on the pros and cons of doing that. We're not going to take testimony as to setbacks and animal units and all those kinds of other things that are part of the substance of the document. So, that said, is there anyone in the audience that would care to address the board on the subject of ordinance number 65? And again, I'll ask, is there anyone here who would wish to address the board on the subject of ordinance number 65? I am not hearing anyone or seeing any hands indicating a desire to bring public comment to this decision. And so therefore, I'm closing the public hearing to the public and turning to the board for further discussion and action.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
just
sir.
I think it's, just to kind of cover what you mentioned, so this incorporates content-wise everything up to ordinance 64, which, continually amended. That's
correct. It would include any and all amendments from ordinance 15, which was the ordinance that was cited as being adopted properly in that case from Judge Means. So that would be any zoning related ordinance from ordinance 16 through 64.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to mention that just because we're basically reapproving the content-wise what's already there, or that's at least that's what's on the table. That doesn't mean that we still need something to work with, even if we are discussing a revision and looking at changing things content-wise in the near future.
Okay.
I think just plain and simple, all we're doing is correcting a procedural glitch is what this amounts to. And we're not doing anything with the content. And we would review the content at a later time, but we're today just looking at procedural correction.
Yep. A procedural action to continue business as usual.
Okay. Any further remarks? Hearing none, if you are in support of adopting ordinance number 65, you'll vote yes. And if you're not in favor of that, you'll vote no. And Cindy, would you call the roll of the commissioners, please?
Commissioner Gable.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner McElhaney.
Aye.
Commissioner Brinkman.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanton.
Aye.
It's 5 in favor.
Okay, we have 5 votes in favor. That constitutes the majority. It is unanimous. Ordinance 65 is declared passed. Item 4 is approval of a plat, and Mr. Muller's here to explain.
Thank you. All right, we have just one plat, and I think you were at the meeting where I discussed some of this, but this is the plat check second edition in the northeast quarter of section 34 of Sheridan Township. This is southern end of the county, as I said, in Sheridan Township. This is in the old village of Appleby is where this is at. Mr. Chuck came through, got a variance to, currently had 3 lots, but one of those included a lot of the old right-of-way as well of the town of Appleby, so in the end, it looked basically like a hammer. The lot did. It was about 50 feet wide and then ran back. And so what he has done with this plat is keep the same lot sizes, however, reconfigure them so that each one of them would have a buildable area and access. We have had the plat's been signed by the township already, indicating their desire to allow access to each of the 3 lots. It's not adding density to what was out there before. That's why the board granted the variance, because the lot size and the density were remaining the same as before 76. So, planning commission recommended approval on Monday, and that's where it sits with you.
I'll make a motion to approve that plat.
Second.
Commissioner Hanton has moved and McElhaney second to approve the Scheck second edition plat. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, if you're in support, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
If you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried. Item 5, we'll
Thanks,
invite,
Luke.
we'll
Thanks, Luke.
invite Mr. Small to come to the front.
Good morning.
Morning, Rick.
All right.
Thank you.
These are bid tabs as we put together when we had the letting. I want to start by saying, my budget, on the budget for 2017, I have budgeted $624,000 total for these 2 machines. And if you're looking at the bids, but not going to buy them for $624,000, the only way we can is under bid B or bid C, using the trade-in, stay within that $624,000 budget. Just that's my recommendation, is using the 2 as trade.
Do you have a vendor in mind?
Butler Machinery.
Okay. And Butler bids what brand?
It's a Cat 140 M3 AWD, all-wheel drive.
And so we're, the motion should be then to purchase the 2.
Under bid B and bid C with trade of the 00163 and trading also 00164.
I'll make that motion.
Second that.
Motion by McElhaney, second by Hanton to purchase the motor graders just described. Discussion on that motion is in order. I'm hearing none. If you're in support of that action, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried.
Also, just let you know, our shop in South Shore is without power. Pretty much the whole town of South Shore is without power right now. Hopefully we'll get it back. We're getting alternative heat sources in there so we don't freeze the plumbing up and stuff, but hopefully we'll get power back up in there. And roads, especially to the north and east in the South Shore area, are treacherous. About the best.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Mr. Chair, before Rick takes off, and Jim is here also. One of the things that, being a rural resident and having not had power for 18 hours about yesterday, the day before, is there anything that we as a county commission could do or as emergency management to help out with any of the rural communities, rural residents, as far as making certain that the roads are open or assisting utilities to getting in and out, or getting generators rounded up, or anything that we could possibly do? Is Jim that contact point, or is I'm just bringing it up for a thought that our hearts and prayers go out for those people that are sitting out there milking umpteen million cows out there with no generators or no heat or no lights, and it's a tough go. So
And the highway department is available if they need to get into a field or something. Snowplow to get into a field, I think we can provide that service.
and it involves everybody. It's Northwest Public Service and East River and County and Clark and everybody, all the utilities. They're probably priority, and we need to get the power back to those sites again.
We're pretty fortunate, I think, in Cottington County that the temperature came up in the evening, on Christmas evening, and the ice disappeared on the trees. It was just starting to get really thick.
Yeah.
I myself was out cutting a tree up. Trees were starting to fall on the road, but in a matter of hours, that ice disappeared on most of the trees and stuff in Cottington County.
Yeah, it was rather interesting to watch that. I mean, they were about dead on how, it was supposed to stop at a certain time, and it pretty much did, and then you watch the temperature actually increase from that 32, 33 up to 35.
And that, just those three
Made a
trees
world.
made a world of difference.
Yeah,
And there's
world of
just enough
difference.
breeze to help move
The
it on.
north end of the county that is suffering yet.
Yeah.
North end of the county
Yeah,
yet.
they didn't get that as quite as warm
No.
during those hours.
No.
And with your point, I think, Jim, the search and rescue's already been assisting a lot of the different agencies, haven't they?
We have, yeah. We were moving shelter trenches around Burkeville County yesterday, and we've been up to South Shore. I've got some more information that I'll.
Yep. Okay, good, thank you. I just wanted, as long as you were here to, and I appreciate the Sanders are out, so.
And
I want to thank you. It's a privilege working with you all
Well-
these years. It's been a privilege and an honor.
And before,
Also.
and before you go,
Thank you.
sir, I would want everyone in the audience to know that when it comes to having a highway superintendent, I think Cottington County has had one of the best in the state in you. And I think the other thing that's interesting to note, 32 years of being a county commissioner, you're only the second guy that's occupied that chair while I was here. And so we certainly appreciate your longevity, and as evidenced by the work you did on the bids here, you've got the taxpayers' interests at heart, and that's much appreciated.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And I ditto the same thing that he just said. It's been a privilege to be your liaison for the last 4 years, and great working environment. So.
All right, item 6, monthly reports, emergency management.
Morning, Jim.
Morning.
Morning, Jim.
Jim, pull that mic in front of you. Will do. How's that? Just a couple things. The search and rescue team, now, we went down to Arlington 4 times, assisting Game Fish and Parks and Brookings County officials in their attempt to recover that victim from that drowning in Arlington. And just so that you know that we have been sending our fuel receipts and so forth, our expenses on that trip down to Brookings County, and they've been covering 100% of our expenses to go down there and help with that search. We have, like I said, we have been down there 4 times now, helping with the search, and still no success in that search effort down there. When we were doing one of the searches down there, I'd like to let you know that one of our search and rescue team members accidentally stepped in one of the holes that we drilled and went down and landed on his elbow. And it's my understanding that he hurt his shoulder and a knee when he fell, and tore his rotator cuff in his shoulder when he fell. So Cindy and I, we have submitted the proper paperwork for the injury to workman's comp on that. So, but just in case that you hear something about that, you're aware that we did have that injury. And now I'll go to the storm that we had. I've been working with the cities. South Shore is without power now. Their water system, their sewer system is down. I've made contact with Otter Tail Power that supplies power to the city of South Shore. They cannot give me an estimate on when the power will be restored up there. They promised me that by this afternoon they'd have a better idea of when the power would be restored, because the water system and the sewer system both are down. In 2005, Otter Tail Power provided a large generator for the city that powered their system. They don't know if they're going to do that this time, but by this afternoon I should have more information on when they think that they can have power restored. For the rural areas, like Commissioner Johnson said, the rural areas are without power. One of the biggest problems we have there is with East River Power. They're the power cooperative that actually has the main lines coming into Cotting Clark Electric and into HD Electric. And some of the big transmission lines, a lot of the poles went down. And that's one of the biggest problems that we have restoring the power right now is East River and their large transmission lines. In Cottington County, we've got Cottington Clark has got about 100 customers that are without power. And up in the northern part of the county, Whetstone, there's about 113 customers that are without power in Cottington County. And that covers the rural areas. The cooperatives don't provide any power to the cities. Originally, we were having problems with Wallace. We had power out at Florence, had power out at Henry, but all those have been restored except for South Shore. And I'm working with South Shore. They were making plans to have a septic tank company come up and pump the lift stations today and haul the sewage to the lagoon. That's what I'm looking for, Commissioner. And they're that'll be about a 1 to 1.5 day fix. And so I'm working with them. I've talked to Cotting Clark Electric, and as you were talking about earlier, I've told the power cooperatives that if the county can be of assistance, that we'll do what we can for them within our capabilities to help with opening a road if there's a roadblock and so forth. The surrounding counties, Grant County, Dual County, they're in much worse shape than we are. In Dual County, there's 665 people without power there. Grant County, there's 2,000 customers up there without power. And Dual County, they were estimating, probably in the neighborhood of 500 power poles down. So it's going to take a number of days before. Our county and the surrounding counties, they get everybody back up. It was, we were very lucky here, as Rick Small was saying, the temperature came up and the temperature didn't come up over in Dual County, so that heavy ice stayed on those power lines. And then yesterday, we had 50-some mile-an-hour wind gusts. It gets those power lines to whip in and snaps the poles. And when one goes down, it's just a domino effect. Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. We did have a request up in South Shore. I'm going to be getting some bottled water this morning and transporting that up to the shelter in South Shore. The shelter's open. We've got a generator that we put in there with Homeland Security grants. money here a number of years ago, so we have power to the community building in South Shore with that generator. And I'll be taking water up there and helping them with any other requests that they have. But it's up to them to, tell us what they need, and then we'll work from there.
How many people are using this shelter, do you know?
When I was up there last night, there was probably approximately 10 people in there, and they were playing cards and had a meal there. But the way it sounded, most of those people were going to go back to their homes to spend the night, but they're probably back down there at the community building today where it's warm and they have lights and.
Yeah.
That's all I have on that.
Okay,
Item number 7 is Jim's. Is Jim's also.
all right. Yeah, all right, sure. Let's do number 7. That is review and action on proposals received for an emergency management vehicle.
And you should have all received a copy of the quotes that I received from Schuchart GMC, from Sharp Chevrolet, and from Watertown Ford and Chrysler. And there's one change on that. When I was reviewing the proposals on the Watertown Ford proposal, they had not met 2 of the specs that I had put out to the other companies. I went back out there, I talked to them, and they redid their proposal, and it raised the price about $1,000. So we're at a price of $30,877 for Watertown Ford of those 3 proposals that we have. All 3 of them, are spec'd out the same. And I would say if you compare the 3, the one is considerably better than the other 2 as far as the cost to the county.
So your recommendation is?
My recommendation would be that we take the low bid from Watertown Ford, that bid being the base price for the new vehicle would be $30,877, and they are allowing us a trade-in allowance of $5,000 for the current Chevrolet Suburban that we have. So we'd be looking at a cost to the county for the vehicle itself. With the trade-in, it would be like $25,877.
Make that motion.
Johnson has moved and McElhaney seconds the motion to purchase the vehicle for emergency management from Watertown Ford, trading in a used vehicle for same. Discussion on the motion is in order. Hearing none, if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion carries.
Could we have a motion also to declare the 2004 Suburban surplus?
So
Okay.
moved.
Second.
Moved by McElhaney, second by Johnson, to declare a 2004 Suburban surplus to be traded on the vehicle just allowed to be purchased. Any discussion?
One quick comment. Last time you mentioned that Suburban was purchased with grant money, so the only thing we can do with it is trade it in. We can't sell it out on a, so.
Any other remarks? Thank you for that clarification. Hearing none, if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried.
On this new vehicle, now there will be some added equipment.
Light bars and...
Be putting a light bar on it, putting a topper on it, so there'll be additional expense there, but that would be all within the money that we have budgeted for the current year.
Do you want to turn the volume down on that TV?
It's muted, I
It's
think.
muted. There's some,
How
You're
come?
hearing it off
You mute the computer.
Oh, all right, okay.
2 good ears.
Can it be muted?
Okay,
You have to put an earplug in
before you
there.
run, Jim, let me say to you, you have got to be as fine an emergency manager as this state has had. The public may not know it, but your services have been called upon by, I believe, Pennington County, and I believe Minnehaha County, and numerous other counties as well when situations that require competent management, additional management, and you've responded to those things as well as done everything that we would expect you to do here. And all I can say is, from the vantage point of this chair, it's been a pleasure working with you. And again, the county's in great hands knowing that you're at the helm of emergency management.
Well, thank you very much. And I'd like to say that, working with the county and with state agencies, that I appreciate Commissioner McElhaney and Commissioner Brinkman. I appreciate the professionalism and the support that you've provided to emergency management. And it's been a pleasure working with you two as the emergency manager here in Cottington County. You both truly have done a fine job in your positions.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Jim, and I would echo the same. It's been an honor to be your liaison for the last 4 years, and the professionalism you've shown and the outstanding job you've done is just spectacular.
I'd also like to thank Sheriff Toby Wisser. I'm working with Toby, and he's leaving office 1st of January, and I'd like to thank Toby for the support that he's given me, and it's been a pleasure working with him also.
All right, thank you. Well, the next report is our sheriff, and
Morning.
Morning.
bring that other guy up with you.
I did learn one thing, that your name is Bradford, right?
Bradford, yeah.
Now, what would you prefer being called, Sheriff or Bradford or Brad?
Brad works, yeah, Brad.
Brad works, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think that mic is on at all, is it?
Nope, that one's not on. It just causes feedback.
I can turn it on if you
Yeah,
can
look.
give it a try.
That's not.
Usually causes.
We should just set it off to the side, it's a little confusing.
So touched
People
by
aren't sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gonna be there.
Thank you.
golly.
All right. Start out with the charts and graphs. We've got that on the first page there. And the next page, want to jump over there, we'll talk about the jail stats here briefly. The average daily population for November was 77.9 inmates. Low was on 73 on November 17th and the 18th, and a high of 82 on November 2nd and the 9th of November. Total number of bookings were 190 in the month of November. Money collected, we collected $13,515.35 in out-of-county contracts. Collected $8,100 in work release fees, $4,698 in 24/7 fees, $6,976 in scram fees, part of the 24/7 program. As of November 2nd, we had 48 people reporting twice daily for PBTs, 19 people reporting twice weekly for UA drug tests, 3 people wearing drug detecting sweat patches, and 39 people wearing scram bracelets as part of the 24/7 program, for a total of 109 people on the 24/7 for November. We'll jump on to the next page there, the monthly balance sheet for the office. Looks like we, bank balance, end of November 2016, $10,501.73. All the receipts were deposited in November. Copy fees collected, $28. There was sheriff's fees collected, $9,234.23. No executions collected. Warrant fees collected, $650. So, for a total of $9,912.23.
Great.
We'll jump to the next page here. A few statistics about the actions the deputies have been working on here. We got 423 cases and calls for November, so you guys been busy. 18 accidents, 68 warrants served, 283 civil papers served, and for transport miles, we put a lot of miles on, 2,945 miles transporting inmates and people across the state. And a couple topics here. I know it's on, I think, agenda number 8 or 9. I'll touch base on here, but like, we got approved for the body camera grant. We applied for it back in October for a sum of $9,690. That's going to be enough money to pay for 9 body cameras for the deputies, and the storage, we'll be able to keep that in-house. So that'll be enough to cover all that, to get the program up and going. We do have policy already set in place that will be for the body cameras. So, I'd like to also talk about Homeland Security grant. We did receive money for Homeland Security grant, a little over $8,000, which is enough to buy us 2 new digital radios for our vehicles and extenders, so we can put them in the vehicles and the deputies can talk back and forth. So, those have been ordered.
Just a couple of things. Item 9 is action to approve those body camera purchase. I don't see any reason why we can't do that at this time.
Motion to
I'll
approve.
second that.
Motion by McElhaney, second by Hanton, to authorize the purchase of the body cameras. And is there any discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
just
sir.
quick. So what was the amount again, Brad? Was it?
$9,690.
And that was 100% grant?
100% paid
Okay.
for by the Drug Control Fund from the Attorney General's office.
Okay.
That's going to cover 9 cameras for the guys and storage fees.
That's the number that you were hoping to get?
Yes, they
That's
gave
what
us
you-
100% funding of the money that we were asking.
Perfect.
Mr. Chair, the number that I missed was on the 2 radios from Emergency Management.
The Homeland Security grant, was a
Homeland-
little over $8,000. I don't have the.
Okay.
direct-
Okay, now, we don't have, at this point, I'm not understanding that we have the radios in this motion. And what is the value of those? That's just something you can order?
Yeah,
and-
they were already ordered and taken care of.
All
through the
right.
Homeland Security grant.
All right.
Update you.
They'll just, when the claims come through,
Right.
they'll be approved, and then we'll
Sure.
get supplemented funds from
Yep.
Homeland Security. Yep.
Makes perfect sense to me, so the motion is just on the body cameras, and any further discussion on that? Hearing none, if you're in support, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried. Is there a report on patrol vehicles?
Patrol vehicles, looking to ask for proposals.
Just get proposals,
Yep,
okay.
from the community and
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second that.
motion by McElhaney, second by Hinton to request proposals for sheriff patrol vehicles.
How many are you looking at?
looking for 2.
Any discussion on that? We're not buying anything, we're just shopping.
That's what you budgeted for 2 this year, next year? Okay.
If you're in support of the motion to authorize the hunt for possible vehicles, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried.
All the miles that you put on transports is going to make a difference now on,
Yeah. We do have a transport van that we try to keep the miles on just that instead of a deputy patrol vehicle. Because it does cost a lot of money to outfit a patrol vehicle.
Sure.
So we try to keep those miles on the transport vehicles.
gotcha.
When,
Mr. Chair, in reference to that, I was going to ask earlier, but those transport miles, it seems like they just keep going up and up and up. Is there any indicator of what's causing that? And is there any way that we can help out to resolve that? I know we used to have a transport bus that we were in cooperation with some other counties or something that.
Actually, we do utilize the transport system. That's what you're probably
Yep.
talking about. It runs from Rapid City to Sioux Falls twice a week. We do utilize that a lot. A lot of these trips, it looks like last month we did 14 trips. Oftentimes, when we're doing these trips, we are utilizing the most we can, try to get as many inmates or many people in there as we can. So we may be stopping in Roberts County, Day County, and then back here, instead of running one inmate here and there. Same thing when we go down to Sioux Falls or Yankton, we try to utilize as many as we can to make a full vehicle if we can. So we do utilize the transport system as much as we can.
Question,
With those miles, 3,000 miles, I'm assuming that we're going to be in need of a transport vehicle pretty darn soon.
Yeah, probably next year maybe, what we're looking at. We've been using an old squad car right now in our transport vans, so they do rack up fast.
Thank you.
Okay, any other things from the sheriff's department other than your report? I see,
One other quick thing, been working with the Sex Trafficking Coalition in Watertown here and Drug Endangered Children Group. We're working on having a training set up here in the sheriff's office on January 27th for training deputies, hospital staff, just training the community, a mixture that everybody's aware of what's going on.
okay, well, thank you for that. This meeting is kind of a mixture of doing the necessary business of the county, but then there's also some time for recognition and handing the baton off to others, and I understand that there is a possible resolution that this board might pass. And Brad, if you'd be so kind as to read the resolution, we'll take it under consideration and perhaps adopt it.
Sure. I'd be pleased to. Resolution 2016-33. Whereas Toby Wishart has devoted 20 years to enforcement of the law enforcement in Cottington County as deputy sheriff and sheriff, and whereas Toby Wishart has safely and humanely directed the operation of the Cottington County Detention Center, keeping occupants safe from others and themselves, and whereas Toby Wishart has operated the sheriff's office of Cottington County in a fiscally responsible manner during his term of service, and whereas Toby Wishart has served capably as an officer of the court during his tenure as sheriff, and whereas Toby Wishart has elected to retire from his office of sheriff in Cottington County effective December 31st, 2016. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners for Cottington County, and on behalf of all citizens of Cottington County, that Toby Wishart be recognized for exemplary service in the line of duty, and that he be rightfully recognized for his dedication to the public he served. Be it further resolved that December 31st, 2016 be designated as Toby Wishart Day in Cottington County, and that the record of this act be spread upon the official minutes of the Board of Cottington County Commissioners.
Well, we've heard the resolution. Would
I would make
somebody?
a motion to
Second.
approve that.
I have a motion from Hinton and a second from McElhaney to approve that resolution. If you're in support of that, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it.
Congratulations. Nice job.
And,
Congrats, Toby.
Good job, Toby.
okay, you guys got to practice your penmanship.
Congratulations.
And I guess, Toby, I would say to you, as in one way or another, I've said to some other department heads, I can't remember how many sheriffs have been involved since I've been here. I think Chuck Shamans was the sheriff when I came, and
There's
we
been a few.
had Lundy, and we had Gary Stamp, and we had Keith Olson, and we had Toby. And my sense of it is they just kept getting better as we replaced one after the other. And this young man, he's probably the youngest of all those who served in their day, grabbed that office and has just so capably run it, fiscally responsible. You couldn't ask for a better servant in that regard. And and was always thinking ahead. And so, Toby, for all of those good qualities, we are so appreciative on behalf of the citizens of Cottington County for what you've done, and enjoy your service in the business world. I think you'll find that rewarding in its own way as well. So, thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And by far, this sitting commission has been by far the most engaged, self-educated board that I've had the pleasure to serve with. Thank you for that.
And I would echo the same as I have before. Ditto the great words of Mr. Brinkman. It's been an honor to work with you, Toby. I think you've done a spectacular job, and just thank you.
Mr. Chairman, as a liaison, I'd like to say thank you. As part of that self-education, it was really a lot of you educating me, and so I learned an awful lot in these 2 years working with you, and I really appreciate it. And it's just wonderful to see how you balance all the different stuff. You got the public issues that we're working with on the facilities. You have fiscal responsibility. You have jails. You have not to mention law enforcement, and some folks to take care of in your office and in the jail. And you've set a good example, an excellent example, and set the bar very high as a leader and for the county.
I would agree. I remember when I first took office, I had a lot of questions, and Toby is always very good about taking time to explain them and answer them so that we understood. I appreciate that.
And my 2 cents, I would echo what everyone else has said, but I have known Toby probably more as a family man as the sheriff. And if any of you know, his wife is sitting in the back here. I had the opportunity to work with his wife for a period of years, and it was just a real pleasure to work with Toby and his wife and his family, a very, very dedicated family man, as well as a very dedicated public servant. So best of wishes and best of luck and congratulations. These are the kinds of people we like working for us, are the ones that will forge ahead and take new adventures and do things good for the community, and I know that you will. Thank you, Toby and Janelle.
Thank you.
All right, we have the signed
That's all signed?
document that.
Yep.
Do that before Brad
Yeah.
goes.
Is there going to be fireworks that day?
Yeah, Brad, before you.
Fireworks?
Brad,
Before you run away, we got to continue the festivities here. We learned that you were the recipient of still another award, and I have here what I guess is a copy of a certificate of appreciation that was given to you by the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, awarded to you, Brad Howell, in grateful recognition of unyielding adherence to the highest ideals of law enforcement in maintaining, preserving, and protecting the lawful rights of all citizens. And it's signed by the commander and quartermaster of, I believe, our local VFW organization. And so we have here these 2 items with your name on, and I think it's only fitting that you have your moment in the sun to, as you take office, to realize for the citizens of this county that we not only have another sheriff, we've got a good one. And that is comforting to know.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. Appreciate it.
Well, best of luck to you. And just a detail, now you need to be sworn into office. Have arrangements been made for that? And what are those plans? Can you make them public?
Friday morning, we're gonna get sworn in office about 8:15. Judge Means is her court. So
Okay,
just the weekend falls on the first is a Sunday, so
yeah,
get the swearing in.
all right.
Friday the 30th?
Friday the 30th,
At what time?
8:15.
And where will that take place?
Judge
Judge
Means.
Means is quarters.
Okay,
So upstairs.
Chambers,
down below.
okay, very good.
Thank you, let's give
Thank
these
you.
guys a hand.
Item 10 looks like it could be for Mr. Satterley, so we'll invite him up.
Morning.
Morning, Terry.
Good morning, Terry.
As the commission is aware, we've been negotiating with the 3 employee bargaining units this fall, and all 3 units have voted to accept the commission's last and final offer. I have 1 contract in hand, 1 contract is in the mail, and the deputies have yet to get me there, but it'll be here shortly. What I'd like to do is just go through what was agreed to, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
Okay, please do that.
The first one I'll take up is the correctional officers. They're represented by the Teamsters Union. They have agreed to, as I said, the commission's last and final offer. That offer included a 1% cost of living raise for 2017. Also, at the request of the management of the sheriff's office, we renegotiated how we were going to compensate the employees reference administrative pay and holiday time. And that resulted in a compromise between what management would like to have and what the employees want. And so that's been resolved. I have here the Teamsters, their procedure is we have 3 forms that they'd like to have the commission sign or the commission to approve the contract. We'll then mail it back to the Teamsters for their signatures, and then we'll get the original back for our file.
Okay.
So we need a motion to authorize the chair to sign.
Motion to
And
approve.
we're going to do each contract.
Yes.
I have a
Second.
motion from Commissioner McElhaney, second from Commissioner Gable to approve the contract with the Teamsters. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried.
The next contract is between the deputies, Cottington County Deputies Association and the Cottington County Commission. Again, they've agreed to accept the 1% cost of living raise for 2017. And they've also agreed to the compromise language on dealing with administrative pay for holidays and administrative days. As I said, I don't have their contract in hand. I requested it to be here by Friday, but I haven't got it yet. So I'll get a hold of them and get the copy to the commission, or the contract to the commission.
So I'd make a motion to approve the deputy's
Second.
contract.
We
To
have a mo-
authorize the chair to
Authorize to
sign.
sign.
I have a
Yep.
motion from Commissioner Hanton, second from Commissioner McElhaney to allow the chair to sign the agreement with the Sheriff's Deputies Union. Discussion. Hearing none, if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried.
Okay, and the final bargaining unit is the Highway Department, who is represented by the AFSCME Union. They also voted to accept the 1% cost of living raise for 2017. In addition, we negotiated an advanced degree program that presently exists in the sheriff's office. And what that is if an employee has completed either a 2 or 4 year advanced degree program from a recognized and accredited institution, that employee would receive 10 cents an hour increase in pay. Again, we negotiated that with the Highway Department, and that's as part of the agreement that they accepted.
Motion to approve.
Motion by
Second that.
McElhaney and second by Gable to approve the Ask Me contract. Any discussion? Hearing none, if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried.
That contract is in the mail, it was overnight, it should be here today.
Okay.
And the last and final thing I have is a recommendation for compensation for non-union employees and for the county commission for 2017. And that would be a 1% cost of living increase for both the non-union employees and for the county commission members. In addition, I would recommend that we incorporate the advanced degree program for all county employees. And again, specifically, it requires employees to have completed a 2 or 4 year program. When documentation is then presented to the department heads, and if the employee qualifies, they would receive a 10 cents an hour increase in pay.
Okay, I need to mention that the recommendation relative to the pay increase for this board needs to be acted on by the new county commission first meeting in January. And so we'll take that part under advisement. And I guess if the board would wish to implement the
There's
rest-
actually not action on the agenda for the non-union members,
all
so
right.
we could put that under old business for the meeting on the 3rd.
Okay, let's
I'll
do
put that down as old business,
Yeah.
and, yep. And we'll take care of that. Then this board will take
Sure.
care of that.
Yep,
Okay.
fair enough.
Sounds good.
That's all I have. Thank the board for your support during the negotiations. It went quite well. I think the employees are happy.
Mr. Chair, one comment that I'd make, a lot of people don't understand that we have 3 unions that we actually are working with here, and really appreciate the work that Terry does. Each individual union has to be kind of individually taken care of. And it requires a lot of work, a lot of back and forth, and anytime you're negotiating contracts with employees, kind of one of those things that a lot of people don't like to get involved in, but we appreciate you doing that and representing us in that process.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I enjoy working with your employee group and with all your employees. I think you've got a fine group of people.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, seems it'd probably be well, not the last time I'll see you, but in the 4 years I thought that, Terry, you've handled the HR situation extremely well. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with you, and every year you seem to do just a fantastic job with the whole negotiation process and everything that you do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And from this chair to you, Terry, I'll leave the previous comments regarding negotiations stand on their merit, and just say that, there have been some times when we've had some hiccups with one employee or another, and just having you there to work with department heads and to work with affected employees and to smooth the waters and calm the storm, the kind of thing, you were tops. And it's a pleasure having you on the county payroll, and we just couldn't do better than you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. It's been a real honor working for you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry.
All right. Item number 11, we have an action to authorize participation with the South Dakota Weed Board on a poison hemlock biocontrol grant.
Steve? I think he fell asleep.
Were you comfortable back there?
Losing interest.
Somebody wake him up. Wake him up, huh?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Steve.
This is an action to approve for this grant for the hemlock, and what it consists of is to help a cost of releasing and mileage for the evaluation and release of these hemlock moths in the county. This is a competitive grant. We'll not know until February if this is approved by the State Weed Commission.
Move to approve
Second.
authorization to
A
participate.
motion by Hinton and a second by Gable to participate in the application for that grant for poison hemlock biocontrol.
So is the total 4,425
Well, yeah,
or?
what it would be is.
or is it 25?
That total amount, what it is divided up into 7 counties, depending on what each county sends in for time or for mileage.
Okay. Or who signs as the applicant? Does the chair or do you?
I don't sign this thing, basically.
Oh, that's right, until we get it back.
Yep,
Okay.
State Weed Board
All right.
does, so.
All right,
Somebody here next year will take care of it.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I happen to know Gary pretty well, Gary Prieb, so if I can be of any help.
Well, that probably don't really help because it's a committee that puts this grant, that goes through and reviews all these grants. Currently, right now, I think there's $320,000 for competitive grant. What I heard is there's about 390,000 applicants, so we'll have to wait to see who they pick and stuff.
I used to sit on this board years ago
Okay.
at one time, so just get all the paperwork in, get it in on time, that's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
Yeah, weather the storm. Thank you.
Okay, and Steve, again, there've been several people that have been weed supervisors during my tenure on the county commission, and I've got to say you have performed those duties very well. We probably couldn't do any better than what we've got in you. I think your management of the department has been exemplary, and I hope you stay on till retirement.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I do appreciate that, Elmer. I appreciate going down to Oklahoma to pick up that truck that year. Got to know you very well on that trip, and it's fun working with you.
Notice he always says he appreciates the ride down, but he doesn't ever talk about the ride home.
Because on the ride home, he went further south, and I come back north.
You get to drive the old truck back home, huh?
Yes.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, once again, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with you in the 4 years of being your liaison. I've learned a lot more than I ever thought I would about weeds and mosquitoes, but that comes with it. Outstanding job, Steve. I think you've done due diligence for the county. Thank you.
I thank you very much, and I hope that if it isn't, that I do improve more and more as I learn more and more in this profession.
Okay.
We need to vote on our
Thanks, Steve.
motion, don't we?
We didn't
Yeah,
vote.
we didn't vote on
We
it.
didn't, well, you better
Yep.
stick around, and make sure we vote.
Never know.
If you're in support of the is there any more discussion, first of all? If there's none, then if you're in support of that motion to pursue that grant, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Item 12 is probably one that needs a little introduction by the auditor.
This is an action that we need to take at the end of each year. We have got funds put away in a future building fund, approximately $5.1 million currently. We can add to that this year due to some monies left over in the general fund expenditure budget this year and some extra revenue that we received, a little bit of extra revenue. So we can raise that amount to $5.5 million for future building funds. And this is something we are required to do by the Department of Legislative Audit to
Motion to
restate that
approve.
each year.
Second.
That.
I have a motion from McElhaney, second by Gable, to designate certain funds for future building needs.
This will leave our surplus cash balance at 34%, which is well under the 40% that we are allowed by statute.
Mr. Chairman, can I, I know there's a lot of confusion sometimes about these surplus funds, and so the 34%, that's the unprogrammed That's kind of an unprogrammed surplus.
The
correct? That's
34% is considered our unreserved, undesignated fund
Right,
balance,
and
is
so-
what it's called.
So essentially, that's kind of an emergency fund.
That's our
for-
operating cash.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we use cash every year to
Right.
balance the budget. This year, we left about $1 million in the general fund expenditure budget this year. Couple $100,000 in the welfare budget, which is good. $100,000 in commission, over $100,000 in commissioner's contingency that we did not need. And then a few other budgets, a few other
Yeah.
offices came in under budget, so.
Yeah, and then the 5.5 million, that's something we can apply if we decide to
To offset any bond.
Yeah, to
you
justice
may want-
facilities.
Yes, or you can
So-
save it to use for continued
But
maintenance
it's-
of a
but
facility
it's
also.
building- Yeah, but it's building projects.
But it's a
so
building, yes, it's
building.
designated for future building
And that's-
projects,
And
yes.
just people, the fiscal term is surplus account, but it's not, they're really kind of ways to put money away. That's-
Yes, Brookings County did this when they built their facility. I don't know how many years, I think they had like over $10 million to apply
Mm-hmm.
to their, when they did their project down there.
Is there any certain amount of years that this
No.
can stay in this fund?
No, not this.
I
Well, I
think-
mean, you have to show some intent, and this
Yeah.
board has done that by exploring
And-
remodeling this building, building a
Yeah.
new detention center, so, yeah.
Basically, I think the rule is.
We
that
are in
We have to
compliance.
spend it, we have to spend it for its purpose.
Right.
Correct.
That's basically
I
what
just
the
know
rule
that
is.
sometimes
Yeah.
if you have it in a fund, you only have so many
Yeah.
years and.
There is,
Verify
we have a capital outlay accumulation of $500,000. We've had that for a number of years. That is a fund that if you don't spend that within a certain amount of years, I think it's 6 years, you do have to restate, adopt a new resolution. Currently, those $500,000 are also earmarked for detention center and courthouse building.
Mr. Chair, the other thought there too is that, and Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't anticipate our departments over budgeting, so we have dollars left over so that we can, put them away in other funds. It's hats off to our departments. They're very frugal in their
They're very
requests
conservative,
and-
yes.
And it just so happens that when we have unexpected revenues that do show up, and that the department heads and the departments are frugal and actually have revenues left over, that allows us to do this. But it's not something that we plan on.
Last year, we didn't have the funds available to do it. This year, it was something we could take advantage of this year.
And with the coming year, the CPI being at 0, it may make a difference for next
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Okay,
So we have a motion and a second.
all right. If you're in support of the motion to designate the described funds to the future building funds, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried. Item 13, do we have some claims for payment?
I have nothing for 13, 14, 15, or 16.
Ooh, there we go.
Do we have some travel requests?
We have one travel request.
Moving up.
One travel request, the Weed and Pest Supervisor requests authorization to assist at the Sioux Falls Farm Show January 27th.
Move to
Move to
approve.
approve.
Motion by Hampton, second by McElhaney to approve the travel for the weed supervisor in January. Discussion? Hearing none. If you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion carries. Is there any old business?
Mr. Chairman, just, if I may, just a reminder on the justice facilities happenings. So the next committee meeting is January 5th. That's at LATI. That's at 6:10 p.m. And then the next public presentation is going to be January 24th also at LATI at 6:30 p.m. So just if people want to put that on their calendar. Also, the last public presentation with the recording of that is up online if people want to go listen to that if they weren't able to make it. It was not good weather that night. And then also just checked with the city briefly about the possibility of if we had a discussion about doing a bond election either in March or June. So June being the time when the city's going to do municipal elections. Also, that's school board elections if that's happening. So that does look like a possibility, just for everybody's information. And then also the borings took place, so now we're awaiting the report on the soil boring.
One thing, Mr. Chair, if I may, this would be the second meeting that we've live streamed as we're watching ourselves right now currently on YouTube. I've had several positive feedbacks from it. People are utilizing it. And like I said, the nice thing, it's archived there, so if anybody ever has a question of what went on in a previous meeting, it's available to them, or they can watch it live. So there was a nice article in the paper. I'd like to thank them for that, and trying to get the word out to everybody. It's now live, so.
Repeat that. How do they get on?
So you go onto YouTube and you just under the search engine, you can search Cottington County SD, and then Lee did updated the picture, so the little blue screen with the white dummy man in there has been changed to the courthouse, but there's several different things under cottingtoncounty.org. You just look through that and find the one with the courthouse on it, and you can click on that. And each meeting is designated by its date. Starts off with the year 2016, and then like this meeting would be 2016, 12, 27. So that's how you find it.
Thank you.
Good job.
I note that some relatives of the current sheriff have just entered the room, and if you were here for the festivities, we already did the pats on the back and the good words and the motions and the resolution, and but I think I saw something else come in, yeah. So we'll just kind of carry on with the festivities, and Brad, if you've got something to present.
Hot off the press. Toby, you want to come on up here? Wasn't here a little bit ago. Really hot off the press. In appreciation of Toby's 20 years of service, to go along with Toby Wisher Day, December 31st, the office, and we'd like to issue him a plaque that we made. In the plaque, his actual badge from work. We stole it from him one day, and now it's part of the plaque, but we got a couple patches on there, and it says, "Presented to Sheriff Toby Wisher with great honor and recognition to you for your loyal and dedicated service to the Cottington County Sheriff's Office and the residents of Cottington County."
Turn a little bit so the public, yeah, the public opinion wants a good shot, so you got it. There you go.
And I'm sure you'll hang that in your new office suite, right? And the insurance agency. Yeah.
This way, Les.
All right, excellent. Well, alls I can say is that the county's losing a good sheriff, and Wishart Insurance is getting what we think might be a heck of an agent. All right. Any other new is there any other old business, I guess? New business. Is now the time?
Whatever.
Okay. Well, I have another resolution. This is titled Resolution 2016-31, and it reads as follows. Whereas Tyler McElhaney has been the representative for Cottington County District 2, and whereas Tyler McElhaney has provided excellent constituent service to the citizens of District 2, and whereas Tyler McElhaney has worked to operate Cottington County in a fiscally responsible manner, and whereas Tyler McElhaney has served on the State Catastrophic Legal Expense Program Board for the South Dakota Association of County Commissioners, and whereas Tyler McElhaney has been an effective liaison to the county's Highway Department, Maintenance Department, Memorial Park, Weed Department, and Emergency Management Office, and whereas Tyler McElhaney has earned the respect of all those who've worked with him during his tenure as a Cottington County Commissioner, and whereas Tyler McElhaney is leaving public service on December 31st, 2016. Therefore, be it resolved that the citizens of Cottington County join the Board of County Commissioners in expressing their appreciation to Tyler McElhaney for his leadership to Cottington County. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution just read.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Hanton has moved that. Gable has seconded it. If you are in support, say aye.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, say no. The ayes have it. That motion is carried, and I'd be privileged to affix the first signature.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you. It's been a privilege and an honor to represent the people and to work with the different departments and all the great employees of Cottington County. So thank you for the opportunity.
I also have a resolution, 2016-32. Okay.
Commissioner McElhaney, come here, please. So Tyler, it's with great honor that I present this resolution to you and marking your 4 years of service, and wish you well as you continue your farming and firefighting and whatever else comes your way.
Thank you.
Put this way.
Need it? Did you get it?
Okay, so I also have a resolution, 2016-32, whereas Elmer Brinkman has represented Cottington County District 4 for 32 years from January 1st, 1985 to December 31st, 2016, with 11 years as chair. And whereas Elmer Brinkman has provided excellent constituent service to the citizens of District 4, and whereas Elmer Brinkman has worked to operate Cottington County in a fiscally responsible manner, and whereas Elmer Brinkman has served as a trustee for the South Dakota Retirement System from July 1, 1991 to December 31st, 2016, and as chairman for the past 23 years. And whereas Elmer Brinkman has been an effective liaison to the county treasurer and director of equalization offices, and whereas Elmer Brinkman has earned the respect of those who have worked with him during his tenure as Cottington County Commissioner, and whereas Elmer Brinkman is leaving public service at the end of his term. Therefore, be it resolved that the citizens of Cottington County join the Board of County Commissioners in expressing their appreciation to Elmer Brinkman for his leadership to Cottington County, and be it therefore resolved that December 27th, 2016, be declared Elmer Brinkman Day in Cottington County, and that this action be spread over the minutes of the Board of County Commissioners for Cottington County to remain there for all posterity. Upon the vote of the board, this resolution will be adopted the 27th day of December 2016.
Motion to approve.
Motion- yeah.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner McElhaney and a second from,
One of us.
I'll second that.
okay. Second from Hinton. Is there discussion? If you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
If you're opposed, say no. Thank you very much for those remarkable words. And I'm speechless.
Okay.
Thank you, Elmer.
We need to sign that.
Very, very much appreciated for all your efforts, all your work.
Kind of got caught up here.
I know.
You know, it wouldn't be right if I didn't echo what I said to other department people as well as with you, Elmer. It's been truly an honor.
Go that way first.
Your leadership and guidance through this board has been an awesome experience, very educational, top-notch, beyond no doubt. Thank you very much.
As the youngest commissioner in this term, not necessarily age, but in terms of time in office, I appreciate what you've done and how you set an example of walking through some very controversial issues as chairman, and that kind of steadying hand is something I've really learned from and appreciated, and your willingness to spend time explaining things to me as the new guy, I truly appreciate that, and it's been a great benefit to me as a commissioner. Thank you.
And Elmer, I think this is maybe the first time that you've been a loss for words. But that being said, your loss for words speaks very loudly. Just indicating that your love for your community and your job and what you've done in the past, and we're going to really, really miss you. Been a tremendous mentor for all of us, and good luck in the future. Catch a few fish.
I guess I would have to say is sitting as the vice chair for these past years has been a privilege and an honor for me. You've been a great mentor and have appreciated everything that you have done to help me understand a lot of things, and just words there aren't words to explain the gratitude.
Yep.
Want to hold this? Should shake your hand. It's shaking.
Thank you, Elmer.
All right. Is there anything for the open or any other new business? Anything for the open?
Well, there's a couple events that we possibly could have a quorum at. Well, actually, I only have one. The ribbon cutting at Hobby Lobby next Monday morning at 9 a.m. Other than that, I don't have anything other than maybe a little get-together at some point.
Cake and coffee
Yes,
following
today.
this meeting.
That's what I was kind of getting at, yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, we do have a gentleman in the audience here that had spoken to me earlier. I don't know, Elmer, if you had any comments that you wanted to make.
I had multiple, but it's my error that I didn't give you. I did print off some things, but have you passed the?
Yes, we did, yeah.
Okay, so I think that's probably passed down.
Well, and Mr. Kruger, I've been at least clued in as to the homework that you have done, and my encouragement to you would be to attend future meetings of the Planning and Zoning Commission and share the fruit of your homework with the board and see where it goes from there. I would have no reason to believe that it wouldn't be helpful and at least grist for the mill, so to speak.
Nothing for the exec?
I guess not. Terry, do we have anything for executive session?
Move to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Second that.
Johnson moves to adjourn and McElhaney the second. Is there any other discussion?
What's that?
Hearing none, if
Yeah.
you're in support of adjourning, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion is carried.
Should we do it?